Hello and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today on A Vogel Talks Menopause I'm going to be talking about 3 ways that poor sleep can impact on your menopause mood. If you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of all my new videos. We know that poor sleep can have a huge impact on our general well-being and on our health, but in the menopause, sleep is often affected further, and this can wreak havoc with our emotions on a daily basis. What happens here is as your estrogen starts to fall, this can interfere with the way in which you fall asleep, so it takes longer for you to get off to sleep. You're more likely to toss and turn, and also lowering estrogen keeps you in a much shallower sleep, so you can get woken up much more easily during the night. We can also get sleep disruption with things like night sweats, if your bladder is overactive as well. So all these extra things that happen during the menopause can make our sleep even worse, and that can have a big effect. So today I'm going to have a look at 3 ways in which poor sleep can affect us emotionally. So number 1 is fatigue and tiredness. If you're not sleeping well, you're not going to wake up refreshed, you're going to be much more tired during the day. And also in the menopause, we get much more fatigued generally. So we can end up with a double whammy of this just lethargy, if you like. When you're in this state, you can get much more irritable, you can get much more sluggish with your movement, so you might not want to exercise. You've also got low motivation. It's just you can't be bothered to do anything. And fatigue and tiredness will impact on brain function, so you can get that kind of foggy brain feeling or just not being able to concentrate really well. Number 2, poor sleep can affect our emotional reactions. We need a good sleep in order to process all the emotional issues that have gone on during the day. If we don't get that healing and restoration, then the next day both our emotional and physical issues can get worse. And what they found is that sleep deprivation increases the activity of a gland in our brain called the amygdala, and the amygdala is the rapid emotional response center of the brain. So if it becomes overactive, then we are going to respond much more quickly and less in control of our emotions. What can happen in this situation is we can get angry really quickly, we can get snappy, we can get irritable, we can get less patient, and we can become much more reactive to any emotional situation. And I know for some women it can result in you misinterpret what other people are saying, and you can end up getting really upset with things that you think people have said when they haven't said it at all. So our whole emotional control can go out the window, and it can also be very frightening if you suddenly find that you're getting angry, if you can't control your emotions around other people too. And number 3, poor sleep can make us more stressed and anxious. In the menopause, we can get this vicious cycle. Falling hormones can affect our nervous system, which makes us more stressed and anxious anyway. If we then have poor sleep, that stress and anxiety is going to affect the way we sleep. We're going to be more stressed and anxious the next day, and it can just go on and on here. With the stress and the anxiety, again, it can affect the way you fall asleep. So you're going to bed at night, your mind can be racing, you find that you just can't relax, you can't get to sleep sometimes at all. And for a lot of women, it's also the early morning anxiety. You're waking up, you're not rested, and your brain is going 20 to the dozen even before you've got out of bed. So the things to do here is to try and improve sleep as much as you can. So look at a good sleep routine. Our sleep expert, Mariana, has a lovely amount of great tips to help you get to sleep better. So it's certainly worth having a look at those. Look at herbs such as our licensed product, Dormezan. Take magnesium. If you take maybe 200 milligrams of magnesium with your evening meal, that can very often help to relax you physically so that you can sleep better. Switch off the TV at least an hour before bed. Don't take your computer or your phone to bed because the blue light will keep your brain active and that will be a problem getting off to sleep. Watch what you eat and drink too in the evening. Cups of coffee can wake you up and can keep you awake during the night. So go for calming teas and herb teas. Also look at the temperature. If you're getting flushes and sweats, then maybe change some of your bedding just to make sure you're that little bit cooler. If night sweats are an issue, then again, there's our licensed remedy, Menaforce, and you can take a tablet with your evening meal. For me, I have a little bit of an evening routine. I try and switch the TV off maybe about an hour before I go to bed. I try not to read too much either, unless you've got really nice, relaxing books, because I discovered I like sort of adventure books and sort of mysteries and crime books. And I find that reading those can rev your nervous system up. So I don't read those kind of books before I go to bed either, purely because I found that that affected the time it took me to get to sleep. And I like to have a tea. I like rooibos tea in the evening, so I'll have a cup of rooibos rather than having ordinary tea, again, that can keep me awake. Hope you found this one helpful. If any of you have any great tips and ideas of how you manage to improve your sleep, please share them because we'd love to hear all about them. And until then, I'll see you next week for another edition of A. Vogel Talks Menopause.